Joining me today, and today we'll be working on how to shade. All right, so I have this joyful singing sort of lady, and let me position my light properly. Yeah, to make more room for my hands when I'm shading. So I have this lady, and we'll be working on how to shade this one. All right, so let's get into it. All right, I'll be explaining what I'll be doing along the way. So if you have any question, if you're able to join me in the chats, that'll be great. If not, and you're watching this pre-recorded, kindly leave me a message in the comments. So to begin off, these are more like silk or like smoke. I haven't really decided on how I want it to be, whether it's she's busting into smoke or she's wearing a what is it called? Oh, she's wearing like more like a silk kind of dress, right? Yeah. So to begin off with the shade, and here I'm gonna shade all of this one direction, right? I'm gonna shade all of this one direction. Shade everything one direction. And remember, I'm holding my pen somewhere like a third of it, right? Just to allow the soft shading, right? Because if you hold it more in the middle or close to the end, you are prone to shade it a little bit with more effort. So when you hold it at the end, your shading is much more softer, right? So I'm gonna shade everything of her, right? Before we start applying any details or whatsoever. So I'll be shading everything one direction. And with this, I'm gonna call this element. I'm also gonna shade it as well, right? We haven't yet started applying a lot of details to it, so I'm gonna just shade this here, and this element here as well. I'm gonna also shade this one. Remember to hold your pencil at a third of it, right? Soft shading here. Then we're gonna come back here. We're gonna go back here. Right now we're gonna set all of it at the same tone. That's layer one, right? We set all of this to a layer as the same tone. And I'm gonna come here, this one as well. I'm gonna come here and set this one. Let's call this fast face, right? Then I'll find another one. Hello, I hope you are having a great day. Hey Adam, I'm having an amazing day. So I'm just gonna come here, find this, and I'm gonna have this one as well. Set the tone for this and this one as well. This phase we just won't do too much. We're just trying to get the vibe of what, like, let's call it, we're setting the tone or giving it a background, a context for whatever we're going to build upon this one, right? So after we have a couple more, I would like to do more to this one. I'll come here and I'll just do this one. All right, set the tone like as this, and on this one as well. right? So with this tone, the first tone is already set, right? And you can see that the image is somehow defined in a certain way. So with this, yeah, I have this one set. Okay, now after we are done with this, we're gonna go different directions. Remember, we're going horizontal and we're gonna go vertical, right? We're gonna go vertical to add in a lot more details to set, to make the tone like how we want it to be, right? I don't know if I could zoom in so that you can have a better look at it. Right, so I go this way, I set this tone, different direction. You set the tone pretty well. In this face, don't think too much. Just make sure that you have, you are holding your pencil properly and you have, you are applying the right sort of pressure. And the most important thing that you have to keep in mind is when you start shading one part, don't lift your pencil and continue again, because when you do that, you won't be able to pick up off where you left off. Because you see here, if you can see, you're having different tones here. That's because I left my pen to explain what I was doing, and I lost that should I say frequency or fluidity in the strokes as I was doing. So pay attention. If you start off here, make sure you keep your pencil continuous, continuous, don't lift it, continuous to wherever you want to stop, right? If it's like that, you see, you don't really feel the brush strokes, rather than, you see, in this area it feels the brush strokes, this area not so much, right? So this is phase 2. We're going to move on to phase 3, and after that we're going to apply the details. So now I've set all the tone, now it's flat, right? And I'm going to come to this area and I'm going to do a little bit more vertical strokes, because we're going to do a lot more detail with this, with her chest and her, what do I call this thing, her boobs. I don't know if that's appropriate, but yeah, add a little bit add a little bit of go vertical strokes on these ones, right? So yeah, the first layer is all set. Now we're gonna move on to adding a little more details into it. So here, beneath this, I'm gonna go darker. All right, beneath it, I'm gonna go darker. Here, I'm gonna go darker. All right, so I'm just gonna focus on this one and set the tone for the entire shading, just to give you guys a little bit of context of what we are working with. All right, so I'm gonna shade in more here. I'm gonna come here, shade a little bit more here. All right. And come down here, shade a little bit more here, and come up here, shade some more. right? Then I come here, shade, add a little bit of double the lines to give it that the folding effect. So here, when you are in here, what I like to do is extend it a little bit more. And what you have to keep in mind is when you're shading, try to shade under the lines. You shade under the lines, that is going to give you that folding effect. All right, you shade here, and above it you don't fuss about it too much, just a little bit. And you come here as well, you shade here beneath the line. There you go. All right, now you're starting to feel like this is looking more should I say 3D or with context, right? And we could darken these ones as well. We're going to do more of these strengthening of these layout of the outline later, but I just want to just work on one, give you guys a short idea of the depth of how we will be tackling what we are doing today. All right, so you sketch, you shade this place. Remember, pay attention to where I'm holding my pen. So you don't hold all. Most people will be like, you shade like this. No, you hold the pen like this, and you apply your strokes easily and gently. All right, and I come here. We're gonna do more to this later on. Just gonna take it easy and build upon it. All right, you take it easy, and you apply these strokes, these direction. Remember, we've already finished phase 1 and phase 2. So phase 3, we're just emphasizing on a couple areas before we move on to phase 4 to just make it more realistic. All right, so just with this phase, you just try to emphasize on the areas which you want to darken, right? So with this one, all right, I'm gonna make this one double like this. This one double layer here as well, here as well, here as well, right? And I'll go up this way, exactly like this. So beneath here, you would have to, you can't, this thing cannot vanish here like that. So we would have to define it a little bit more here, right? And we go underneath it, we shade it some more, right? And here as well, we want to throw in more shadow here. We won't shade this place because we want to give it like the cloth is folding. I will shade this area, right? I will shade a little bit more here. All right, so this is it. We're gonna come in here as well. All right, we come in like this. Shade a little bit more. All right. I'll shade it like now. You see how it's looking. So we're just trying to add a little bit details, or we're just trying to darken some areas that where we'd want to work on in the next phase. So here I'm just gonna shade this part. Remember, we've already set the tone on phase one when we shaded it in different directions. So right now we just want to add emphasis on which directions we want to, which areas we want to emphasize, not directions. We're already done with the directions. Which areas we want to emphasize. Right now here we would want to now define her body, right? So we don't get confused on how the shape of her body looks like. So I'm just gonna make a simple outline here. Draw a little bit emphasis on the bum bum. right? Exactly like this. There we go. And here as well. I'm gonna do it like that. And the hands, right? So for the hands, we'll just go like that, right? Go like this for the hands. All right. So now it's somehow define of the body what's going on, and we sort of understand what is going on. All right. So I'm just gonna work a little more on the thigh here. Remember, this is the thigh, not this one. This is just the, what do I say? The cloth or the smoke. I have to make up my mind, because you know the cloth and the smoke is how you shade them is pretty much the same. It's just how you define it. That's where make the difference. But in the beginning stage, all right. So we continue here. Just gonna make shade them like that. And we shade this place as well. I'm gonna come in here, keep shading it. When we get here, I would want to add more context to this area, because it's the origin of the cloth. So here I'm gonna darken this place, leave this area, and come here. Leave and come here. Right now you have this feeling of it folding somehow, right? So you shade here, shade, you leave this area, then you come here and you shade this one to complete it. need to start defining what we are doing, right? To make it easier for us to understand where to place more emphasis and where to forgive me when I'm talking and I pause and I don't finish a sentence. I'm just a little bit concentrated in the flow, right? I was listening to some of my videos while after I was done and felt like I didn't know what I was saying. I hope I don't make you feel like that. It's just when I'm talking, I probably feel like I'm in the flow. So sometimes when I talk, it distracts or disrupts my what I'm trying to achieve with the work. So here you see I have this line in here, so I'm just gonna double it in like that. But you would realize that it's not well defined. So how do we differentiate it? Here, dropping more shadows. All right, you take your time. So I shade this area, right? Yeah, exactly. So now we're gonna work a little bit on her body. All right, we're gonna work some more on her body. But I just realized that I haven't defined this part yet. So I'm just gonna define it a little bit. Some shade in this place. Make the silk cloth feel a lot more defined as usual. All right, so let's start working on her body. I'm gonna make her body a little bit darker. we start here. We shade her body like this. Because we imagine that the source of light is coming from behind her, right? So what we would want to do is we will just make this side like we're facing the light, so the body will be a lot more darker, right? So yeah, so this area is going to be a lot more darker, right? And she's going to have a halo of light, but we don't want to stress too much on that part, because it's it will take away from our work rather than complementing it. We'll work on that after we define the entire thing we are working on, right? So she's still gonna have some cloths here. Okay. All right, and I'm gonna throw some emphasis on her, should I call it lady parts or boobs, here, right? I feel like it's a little bit too flat, so I'm gonna define it some more, right? And here as well, I'm gonna define it a little bit more. Also, I feel like her hands are a bit missing, so I'm gonna shade it more to define it before I get confused. Because when you're working in such things, you need to be very attentive. Sometimes you get lost in your you might get lost in your own work. I don't know if that happened to you before, but most of the times when I'm working, I get lost in my own work and I just pause and I be like, okay, where was I? What was I doing? So let me define the arm here real quick. All right, exactly that, so that we can get an understanding of what is going on. So probably if you're following me along, I hope I don't throw you off, right? So when you see it like this, now I'm gonna shade her. I don't know how to call this thing, which is gonna be very appropriate. Her lady parts or her boobs. I'm a good person. All right, so I'm just gonna throw in a little bit shade here. All right, and define it a little bit more. Throw in some, right, because of the materials here. define the boobs, give this thing, what do you call that? I'm a good person, so I can say that. Okay. Okay, make it like that and define it in here a little bit more. All right, then yeah, we go to under this boy. We're gonna throw in a lot more shadows to define her neck. Define her neck. This place is gonna be a lot more darker. And when we get to the hair, we're gonna do a lot of work on the hair. So we throw in these shadows, right? Make sure it's defined, or should I say well defined. Or in her face, you know. Gotta sharpen my pencil a little bit. And find this place. Okay. Throw more light in this area. Exactly. Right. And shade this place. Because you know, for the neck, how she's stretching her neck, you have to. There's gonna be a couple of shadows with the structure of her neck and whatnot, right? So you might have to. You don't have to show it, but you know, these little details it make it. It's like when you take Angela, the statue of David, you know, the veins on the statue's arm and the sling around his neck, how detailed that piece is and how it's being folded, you realize that, oh God, like this, it took, how long did it take him? Like 6 years to finish that thing? Anyways, this is not going to take us 6 years, so don't worry. All right, so I'm just trying to draw lines in here to get things a little relatable. Alright. So I'm gonna work a little bit more on the hair, just to give it more context as we go on. Right. And for the hair, it's gonna be a little bit messy, you know, and it's gonna tie into this thing, right? So it doesn't feel so separated, right? Exactly like that. That's what I was thinking about. Alright, so we have this. Now I'm gonna define the whole body. So it looks a lot more. It makes more sense, if I can say that. And it's not like it's not making sense at the moment, but you will see what I'm doing. Right, so we have this, and we're gonna shade a little bit here. And here it's like there's the extension of the cloth. All right, so we have this now. Like I was saying, we're gonna do a look. We're gonna throw more emphasis on a couple of things, so it's the whole thing becomes well defined. So when you're looking at it, it becomes much easier to understand what's going. Although it's a little bit more, this sort of work, or should I say art, it's in between abstract because you don't know what exactly it is. Right? You can't even tell what she's doing or what's happening here, right? If she's rejoicing or she's afraid of smoke or whatever. So it falls into the abstract sense. So we're gonna make it easy to understand. Right, so we have these little lines that we would be emphasizing on to add a little bit more detail and realism to it. I don't even know if realism is a word, but yes. So we have this, and I'll be shading here. I'm gonna add a little bit more lines to it, make it feel like right? Make it feel like this. So when you're shading, remember to add in texture. What do I mean by texture? That is things that you were not able to see, but you would be able to feel it in the drawings. So we're gonna work on this part. Then afterwards, we're gonna work on these faint ones to make it pop, pop more like well defined. I feel like I've said well defined so many times. But yes, that's all that I think about. To make it more defined, to make it essentially to make it so now we're on phase 4. So this is phase 4. We will be finishing phase 4 pretty soon after we've identified all the areas that we want to distinguish, right? And after that, we're gonna move to phase 5. And in total, we have about 7 phases. So it's phase 5. We're gonna go there. We're gonna go to phase 5 pretty soon. When you're shading, um, there's a possibility that your work will be dirty. So I realize some people will be wearing those gloves. But if you're like me and you don't have it, this is what I do. I pivot my pinky, then I shade. Right. All right, now we're gonna move on to phase 6. If I'm sorry, phase 5. And we're gonna add in these soft shadows. You add in these little. The quick tip to this is you try as much as possible to overlap the lines, right? You overlap the lines, that will give it a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Should I say natural? Right? If it's too big, it doesn't look natural. Your best to overlap them lines and you shade them accordingly. You draw you draw a line like this, and right, right. I'm gonna define a little bit more of her hands here because I feel like I don't really understand. I'm getting lost in my work again. I'm just gonna throw more emphasis here. All right. And then this part is also the cloth. I'm going to shade here as well. Right. And this cloth, I want to extend a little bit here, then it disappears. Right. Yes. So when you look at it, it feels a little bit of, makes a lot more sense, you know. Like I said before, although it's abstract that we are trying to achieve, um, it should be a little bit relatable, right, for viewers, to get what the hell you're trying to say. Even we still understand what Picasso is trying to say, you know, although we don't fully get it, but we could figure it out what he's trying to say, you know, with all this cubism that he's doing. All right, we so with this we just go like that, not too much. Say it a little bit like this, and yeah, we shade here. Remember, wherever there is a two lines, remember to darken it a little bit more, right? Like this, and you go this. Alright, so I'm just gonna push more on this, right? Because her body line is somewhere behind this cloth, so it's not, we won't see that too much. But I feel like this area I might want to cover it up a little bit. Oh, I'm just gonna define it a little bit, right? Define it a little bit, because it's we gotta cover it up. Or probably you might get banned or something. I don't know. Just saying. Yeah. So we're gonna come to the hair here, and we're gonna add a little bit more hair. If you know, the hair is never all tidy. There's always gonna be ones that'll be flying around. So you add these details to it. I like to do that, right, to my work, the hair. I don't like to leave it all fine. I like to add in all of those things. And I'm gonna shade a little bit here and darken these places. So now we are on phase 6 now. We're almost gonna be done. So phase 6, we're gonna put in shadows and highlights. All right. Trying to define everything, make it make sense. Try to make it look as natural as possible. Right? Exactly like that. Then we go this way. And this is place as well. Alright. Go like that. So we have this. And I'm gonna emphasize a little bit more on this part of the cloth. Shade it a little bit more. I'm gonna throw in this one here, throw in this one there. Then I'm gonna come in with the hands. Right, the hands are there. Do this for the hands. Finish it up so that it looks. It makes like I complete. I come to be able to complete the hands. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna shade it off a little bit more. And you have this, right? And shade this part. All right. We have that part, and I'm gonna throw in a little bit more here. Right. Darken. Put in the, like what I'm doing is I darken this part, then I fade it out, right? Right. That's how you would get these this sort of feeling, or more like folded feature. Should I say feature? I don't know. I'm short of words, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. So for instance, here, this part, I want to fold this part. So I'm just gonna draw thicker lines here. Then after I fade it off, right? Then you get this sort of should I say folded? It's not really folded, but bent feature. I don't know the right word for that, but I hope you understand what I'm saying, what I'm trying to do. Yeah. So you feel like here it's a bit folded. Exactly. Yeah. I'm gonna add in, double in on these faint ones, more like at the end, the background. Right, these ones as well. Right, yeah, these ones in, yeah, these ones in, and yeah. Right, I'm gonna sharpen my pencil, and after I'm gonna clean it up, and that'll be it. I think I should probably call this the lady with the ribbon. What do you guys think? All right, guys. So that's about it for today's stream. You would have to just emphasize on some of these strokes to pronounce it properly. Not every one of them, just the ones you like, or the ones that looks really good, or the ones that stand out. All right, so these ones, and I'll pick a little bit one, I'll pick some from this area. So 1, 2, I'll pick one from here as well. And 1, 2, 3, and the last one I'll pick this one. This, so the image it looks balanced in some way, right? All right, guys. So that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys. If you have any question or you want to know more about this stuff, kindly leave me a comment on any video of mine and I'll respond accordingly. Thank you guys so much for the support, for watching, for subscribing. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. Kindly like, share, subscribe as usual. And God willing, I'll see you soon. Or you'll hear from me soon. All right. Peace out.